So earlier this week, I came through with a video where I broke down a couple of sounds that I like in 40's very own keys. And in this video, I just want to break down one of the beats that I made, of which the basis is almost completely 40's very own keys. So let's fucking go. What is up, beautiful folks? This is Valentine the Plug, your favorite struggling R&B producer, and this video is entirely dedicated to this beautiful bouncy R&B beat that I made using 40's very own keys. I'm not going to do an extensive breakdown of the sounds, but I am going to tell you why I chose these sounds and how they fit in my beat, of course. And of course, I hope that y'all was able to rock to the preview since it's a dope beat. Let's not waste too many time. Let's head into FL. Right now, beautiful folks, welcome back into FL. And if you watched the previous video where I broke down the sounds in 40's very own key, this is one of the beats of which I said that I was probably going to put some drums under it and flip it. And I did, and I think it's an amazing beat. I also pitched it up a couple of semitones compared from the previous one. So, you know, if you hear a difference, it's probably that. Let me just do a quick rundown of the sounds that I used. Actually starting off with a piano pattern coming straight from Noir, of course. That's one of my go-to pianos next to the Gentleman and a Piano V2. Now, the sounds that I use on 40's very own keys are the Space Pad. I've been using the Don't Cry patch. I've been using the Echo lead as a lead, of course, and I've been using the Saturday Night RB patch as like some kind of accent keys. You can actually see if I take out this pattern right here, the keys aren't starting on the first beat, they're actually starting on the third beat right there. Now, I've been supplementing those sounds with a vocal patch from Arcade. Is the I Got You kit. It's one that I've used, I think, a couple of times in beats. I'm taking out a pad from the Selena V, the Drowning Dividers patch, which is just a simple, dope, airy, stringy patch. And I'm using two instances of the Mini V3 to get my bass going on, but I'm gonna break that down later. With the piano roll open, beautiful folks, let's go and break down this chord progression right here. I am writing it, I have written it, actually not, but I am currently in the key of A flat major or G sharp major, of course, and I am starting off with this F minor ninth chord right here, and I am dropping down to this A sharp minor ninth chord right here. I took the fifth, I doubled it up top because it matched well with the melody that I was kind of playing. The chord right here you're seeing is in C augmented 7 chord right here. You may recognize this shape because if I take this note right here, this G sharp, I pitch it down, I actually get a C dominant 7 chord right there, but I took it, I took the fifth, I pitched it up, and that turns into an augmented chord. It's called an altered chord, of course. I rocks with this A sharp diminished 7 chord right here, and that allows me to land gracefully on this G major 7 chord right here. So those are the 5 chords that I'm using, and I spice it up a little bit using a couple of grace notes here and there and a couple of notes here at the top. So basically I took some of the notes in the chords. I may have taken a fifth, I may have taken a fourth. I actually doubled the root note of this augmented chord, you know, just to play a little bit, get some kind of a melody going on. Okay, cool. So why don't I just take you through the sounds that I use. So I started off with Noir, and I think I've said this before, but I like to start my chord progressions off with either a piano or the guitar because that's when I really hear what I'm doing. It's weird. I think it's like a pet peeve that I have, but you know, playing with a guitar or a piano, to me, they are very evocative instruments. They really hit my soul strings, and that's when I really know what I'm expressing when I'm using this chord. So that's why I tend to start with a piano or at least some form of keys. So after I had that, I just started stacking some layers. I took out the space pad. I really like it. It sounds kind of stringy, and I think it adds some kind of a form of, you know, lightness, airiness that I really liked in the vibe that I was going for, especially combined with the piano. So this is what the space pad sounds like. It's stringy, but I'm not actually. It's not stringy. It's more fluty. It's more fluty, and that adds a certain airiness that I really like in this beat. So I decided to add a couple of accents with the Don't Cry patch right here. Right here, really synthy, kind of analog sounding with a lot of reverb, makes it sound super wet. And after that, I decided to take out this here. This is the echo lead because I wanted a playful lead. I had the idea of keeping the entire beat airy, and I think that this lead, an airy lead, which is kind of signy, also kind of fluty, adds a really good layer of playfulness. So after that was done, I took out a layer of Love 5 Midnight. Y'all know Love 5 Midnight by now. It's one of those hidden gem VSTs that I cop for $20. I took out the Jazzy Space patch, which is kind of a piano patch. So I think that really nice. It's really nice if you compound it with Noir. It gets you a nice thick layer. After that, I decided to take out the Saturday Night R&B pad because I wanted to play some keys, some chords right after the chords on the first beat. So you get the chords here, then you have them kind of repeating itself. It's kind of like a call and response motion. So that sounds like this. And that's kind of all the sounds that I used in 40's very own keys and Contact. So I have my sample set up here with the playlist, and I thought this sounded amazing already. Let me just play the entire sample with just the Contact elements and Love 5 Midnight. So let's talk about how I expanded on that. So the first thing I did, I actually took out some bass. I really thought it needed bass. I thought it needed bass with plenty of low end, fill up that layer because I thought it was missing some bite, some backbone. So I took out a bass from the Mini V. It is the Bad Bass patch, which is one of the patches that I use on the regular when I open this because to me it's versatile. It's a very thick bass, very thick and analog. And if you consider the fact that a lot of the sounds of 40's very own keys are based on analog, in terms of tone and warmth, it fits perfect with this beat. So this is what it sounds like with the bass. Just a perfect fit. Has just it has bite, snap, growl. Those terms don't mean anything, but that's what it feels like to me. So I think one of the last layers that I added was a vocal sample. I wanted something of a vocal going on. So if I look at my vocal processing bus, I actually don't have a lot on it. Wow, where did I send my vocal sample to? I sent it to track 13. Okay, so I don't have a lot on it. I just have a little alto boy on it to play with. Ooh, that's a crash. Wow. All right, so that just happened. So as I was saying, when it comes to my vocal sample processing, all I have is a little alto boy just to play with the format a little bit. I've got some light compression and delay on it. I don't do the stuff that I usually do because it sounded good to me out of the box. Last thing I wanted was to, get a pad going on, just get a big, airy, wavy hug, wrap everything in a dope texture. So I took out a pad, I sent it to track 5, and all I have on this shaper box playing with the filter and the volume just to have it pump a little bit, have it stutter a little bit. And that's it. That's how I constructed my sample. I don't think it took me long. I think the only thing that I was really concerned about was having the right sounds for the right vibe. But in terms of, harmonics, melodic elements, it was pretty much a breeze. So the most important thing is actually to look for sounds that fit the vibe that you're going for. I think that, that goes without saying, but, the power of repetition. So I'm going to say it anyways. I had a piano layer, which is like a canvas to me, and that's where I usually start adding elements to really determine the vibe of my beat. So upon adding the space patch from 40's very own keys, it was fluty. It really gave me the idea that I needed to add some airy elements. So that's when the Don't Cry patch came in. That's when the Echo Lead patch came in, and I kind of had something that was bouncy, that had a real playful vibe. I decided to add the Saturday Night RV patch. I added another layer of thickness, just another base layer with the Jazzy bass patch. I added that bass from the mini V, really springy, really playful, really fed into that vibe, and that's just how I had this amazing sample. So all that's really left now is to add my drums. So let me reiterate, I thought this beat had a playful kind of energy, and I wanted to feed into that. I want to give that place, I want to do that justice by going for kind of a higher BPM. So that's why I settled comfortably for 130 BPM. The drums that I use, I'm gonna keep repeating this. It is the Prod by Jack presents the drum collection kit. It has kits for boom bap, lo-fi, pop, R&B, drill, and trap. I mostly use the R&B kit, and that's where I got this drum beat from. Like I said, playful beat. I wanted to give it some bounce. I wanted to not clutter it. So I think I, invested most of my time in the hi-hat rolls, and the rest is just careful drum placement in order to get a bounce. So this is what it sounds like right now. And then all we really have to do now is put it all together, and that's why it sounds like this right now. Now, if I can just touch on a couple of the detailed things that I did. So, I have a couple of layers right here that all contain like melodic elements to the sample. And what I would like to do since recently is actually just, do a lot of slicing and dicing to make sure that you're, I believe in the power of taking away elements and adding elements. So sometimes I just let you have all the elements at once so you hear the entire ensemble playing. And sometimes I feel it's cool if I just leave out entire layers or just cut them off at a couple of beats or just leave them out for a couple of bars. Really, it's kind of a stuttery effect. You won't notice it until you carefully listen to it. You hear layers being taken away and layers sometimes coming back. But I do think it adds like a dynamic element to the beat that I really personally welcome. What I also did is I introduced two separate bass patterns. One has more longer sustained notes like here. One is actually pitched down, and one is that one you only hear towards the end of the song in the second hook that has different bass notes from the rest of the bass patterns. It's all kind of like small things that help you add variation to your beat, which are really, really important. I mean, I can sweat the details about chords and melodies and stuff, but it's arrangement that is equally as important as just having a good melody. You feel me? So cool kids, with that being said, that's the end of this short and sweet breakdown of a beat that I made using 40's very own keys. If anything, it should be a testament of how versatile and how useful 40's very own keys is as a VST, and I promise you, you won't regret it if you cop it. But make sure that you have a plan of what you're going to use it for, because I don't think it lends itself for every genre. But if you're looking to make trap R&B, and for R&B if you're looking to make alternative R&B, OVO R&B, trap soul-ish beats, I think they work perfect. So either way, I hope to see y'all in the next video, and I want to thank y'all for your time as usual. Y'all be easy. Peace.